Hey, everybody. Welcome to Prep Talk Live episode. You know what? I feel like if Tup's not here, it's not a full episode. So we're going to call it like episode 33 and a half, I think, or like episode 34A or I don't know. We'll come up with something. But anyway, welcome to Prep Talk Live. I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. Joining me, as you always, are the Legos and the Funkos and everything else. Tup should be here. I'm hoping he's going to join us. I know that his work sometimes gets a little crazy toward the end of the day, and we're doing kind of a different time. So I'm not 100% sure where he is. I've tried to get a hold of him, and he's not responding. So I hope everything's okay. I hope it's just that like he forgot or like he's in a meeting or something. If he joins us, fantastic. If not, then we'll tell him all about it afterwards. So anyway, I'm here. Welcome in. I'm seeing all of our usual suspects. All of our friends are here. Oh my goodness. You just couldn't let me have it by myself, could you? You just like you were like, wait a minute, people have actually joined the stream to see Casey. They're excited about this. Hold on.
Sorry about
that. The diva has returned. All right.
Like I said in the past, my boss doesn't care about my YouTube career, I guess.
Do I have to have a conversation with him? Is that something that I need to do?
Don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Fun story. That's totally fine because I launched the stream and it completely shut down. So I didn't even know what was going. Like we're having all of the technical difference. Last week it was super smooth, and this week it's a little rougher. Anyway. Welcome, as always, Tup, the Urban Prepper. Tup, how's it going? What's going on?
So I'm happy to talk to some normal people, not these computer nerds. Get to talk to some preppers, the real folks, and
I need to get the Austin Powers nerd alert.
Yeah,
we need to add that to the soundboard.
Yeah, all in all, everything's going pretty well. Just it's been busy times and trying to balance everything. So sorry, yeah. I feel a little disheveled. You're the first normal person. You're the first normal person I've talked to since like 7:30 a.m. because it's like
adorable and endearing to me always that you think of me as a normal person after all of this time. That you're like, you know what? On the scale, he's normal. There's modern day prepper is saying, yeah, he was definitely bolting from work to get here, and I think the commute from one side of your chair to the other was probably exhausting.
Yes. I've rearranged my office so the way it looks normal here, but I've kind of flipped the room around this way, and so I'm looking at a different spot than normal. But anyway,
yeah, exactly. Amy, 100%. We need a button that we can push. I have actually like a Stream Deck that I was gonna use for video stuff, and then I use a different setup now, and so I don't really need it as much, but it has the ability to put a soundboard together so that we could like play sounds like applause and people cheering and the wah-wahs and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, 100% we need like a nerd alert. We need a secret preppers.
Yes.
I think we need that. There's a few of them that I'm wanting to get together. So Tup, other than the fact that like work is crazy and you're a very busy person and all that, so what's going on? How was your week? How are things?
I'm on end of week 2 of my intermittent fasting, which is the prepper's diet of choice for the apocalypse. During the apocalypse, we're not going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and so it might be a little bit different. So I'm going like the 16 fast, 8 eat, and trying to be like Mediterranean diet for those times that I'm eating. So it's going pretty good. When I'm in I could do emergency food ration bars, or I could do Soylent, or I could do those for a period of time. And I'm pretty good at these like dedicated diets once I get my mindset to it. But that's going. I don't know. It's going pretty good. So, but
are you finding that you're hungry? Are you hangry? Are you irritable?
Yeah, like right at that after that 16 hours, I'm like, I'm getting food, and like telling the family there, because I'm getting food at this time right at noon. You either tell me what you want now or forever hold your peace because I'm going. So and they, I don't know how it is for other families. I imagine it's the same. Like, and I say, hey, what do you want? Well, I don't know. What do you want? That's like the normal thing. Like, I don't have time for this. I'm eating.
Yeah, you have 10 seconds before I hit go on DoorDash. So
you're on your own.
Figure it out, or you come up with the delivery fee. One or the other. Totally fine.
So that's been going on. And then I've been trying to do some prepping organization with as far as like the stuff I'm working on. I got some packages in the mail for some knives and stuff. I'm getting my Scrum board a little bit more updated for this sprint is what it is. So yeah, all good. Everything's going pretty well.
Very nice, very nice. I like that. I'm thinking of in the new office having some sort of a Scrum board.
Yeah, you should
thing. I was thinking about doing it more digitally. I was thinking about because then I
like a TV monitor type thing. So.
Yeah, like what I was looking at actually, what was intriguing to me, is Amazon has an I think it's the Echo Show or something, the 15. It's like a picture frame. So they have like the show that's like the video screen thing where you can like make calls and stuff like that. And now they have one that's like 15 inches, so it's like the size of an iPad or a little bit bigger. That I like put on a wall or something. And I was like, that could be really interesting as like a thing to kind of keep track of stuff and whatever. So that was one of the things I did not purchase on the early access day, but I have noted now and am trying to figure out how to incorporate into other things. But yeah, I think the Scrum board would be super, super helpful.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'm trying to figure out why is this on my Got Preps channel? Why am I not seeing it?
You didn't pair it. That was part of what made me a little nervous. I was like, normally, like,
I thought I
get the email.
Should I leave and come back and pair? What's going on here?
I think you can. You should be able to just pair.
Can I pair in real time? Let's see. No,
I think
audio, virtual circuit. No.
Otherwise, hop off and hop back on again.
Yeah, let me do that really quick.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
Well, you know what? We'll hang out like we were.
Yeah, have your. Just talk amongst yourselves.
We'll be in the lobby. It'll be fine.
I'll pair.
All right. Thanks for stopping.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm glad that you all are here to, like, you've been here before. You know the drill. Like, this isn't new. But anyway, let's talk about, I'm trying to think. Pigs fly. I got your question. And we're going to discuss it. As soon as Tup returns. I got the question. Love the question. Pigs fly sent me a note a couple hours ago, a question that she had, which was wonderful. Open invitation to everybody. If there's a question you guys want us to talk about or something you want our opinions on, feel free to email. You can info@cascadiadispatch.com is the email address that I use for this sort of stuff. You can also just send a DM on Instagram or whatever if you feel like it. Okay, he is.
It's still not paired for some reason.
He has returned.
I don't see the paired button.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, jeez, this is going on.
Oh my goodness!
It's a Friday.
You know what? This is what happens when we try to move things around for schedules. It's just problematic. On the plus side, all of our usual suspects are here. They found us. So we have that, and what I'll do is I'll download the stream for you and send it over, and then you can upload it as a video.
I don't. Why am I not seeing the pair? That's normally I always see it.
I don't know. It shut down my stream a minute ago. I think the internet. It's raining in Portland right now. It's just a weird day.
Have you had a lot of wildfire smoke down there? Like up in the Seattle area, it was been bad this week, but it
was awful. Well, I will say it's not as bad as it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, those 2 years.
There was one year where there were fires right up against the border of Portland, and it was really, really bad. This year it's hazy and stuff, and I think Portland and Seattle were number 1 and number 2 for the worst air quality in the world for like 2 days in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was not a good thing.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago it was really bad, and a lot of people are reaching out to preppers about masks to wear. Like what? This is even before COVID. I remember a couple of wildfires, but like I don't know what the best mask is for wildfire smoke and this kind of thing. If the N95s is still the way to go for it or not, but
yeah, I don't know. So I was the Mira safety guys had reached out to us. to me. And one of the questions I asked them, because I'm going to do a video on the mask, they sent me a mask and they sent me a filter, and then I'm gonna do a kid's version of whatever. But I had asked them, like, okay, I don't necessarily am prepping for mustard gas, tear gas, any if there's going to be civil unrest like in downtown Portland, like there was over the summer or over 2020 or whatever, I'm not going around it. I'm going somewhere else. But wildfires now are a thing that's happening like every summer, and it's really bad. And like if it did encroach into like the Portland metro area like it did a couple years ago, what filter would you want to use for that? And there were a few different ones. I don't remember off the top of my head which one, but they came back and they said, yeah, this is the one that you would want for a wildfire. It would do smoke and all that sort of stuff.
They have like a smoke, like a specific one for smoke on those kind of ones, like that. Like if you're in a burning building, that's like the one to use. Last I looked, I don't know if they were still in stock though. So
and so they sent me one of the nuclear ones, which was super nice of them. And then I got another one. I like, you have your chainsaws and I have my Mira filters on my desk. Also with the Harry Potter dragon, because
nice.
You just, why not? But getting the smoke ones I think would be important. And I think we've all tried so many masks over the last couple of years, the surgical ones and everything else. But the ones where you can see with the clear visors and stuff, if you were in a really smoky situation, I think would be beneficial. But
I was at an outdoor event. Was that last weekend and there was it was up north of Seattle, and there was a lot of wildfire smoke, and it didn't bother me when I was outside. It was like for an outdoor kind of barbecue type thing. But then after the event was done, I'm like looking at my, because I was wearing a black jacket, I think, and it was like it looked like I had just a ton of dandruff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like I breathed all that in this whole time, and like so it's probably not the best for health, but
it was like paper mache inside.
It was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, I probably should have had my mask on for that one. So
and it's interesting too, because unless it's really bad, it sneaks up on you. You don't really notice it. I didn't even really notice it myself as much this summer, or not this summer, this fall, the last week or so, until my wife was like, oh yeah, they canceled, like, the jogathons in our area were all supposed to happen this week, and like they canceled all the jogathons and moved them inside because of the air quality, and like they were canceling PE and everything. And I was like, oh wow, I had no idea, because it didn't look as bad. But got to be prepared always for everything. So
cool. How was your week been? I talked about fasting. I talked about other
exactly. You did the fasting and everything. I'm trying to do some portion control things. I'm trying to slim down a little bit, but like it's more of a gradual process. But this week was pretty good. I'm trying to kind of clean up my office and do some purging and stuff to just kind of make the move. We finished the retaining walls that we needed out in the backyard, all got finished. So I'm making a video about that and what those are going to look like. So there was some movement on that sort of side of things. We did some rearranging in the garage we're going to be moving some stuff around, and so we needed to kind of purge, and we needed to move shelf units and stuff. So our house kind of looked like a bomb had been dropped off in it, but like from Cabela's. It was just stuff everywhere, but it was all like emergency gear and stuff. And now it's a little bit more calmed down, and it looks a little bit normal. So that was pretty much my week. It was
Cool.
pretty laid back.
Nice.
So I have a thing. So Pigs Fly sent in a question
ready
earlier today. And so we wanted, it was a great question. I was like, all right, we're going to go for it. And tonight the stream, everybody, is going to be short, even shorter than it should have been, because we had to get it going.
I was 10 minutes late. And
Exactly. The Rock calls. I have to go see Black Adam tonight. So normally Tup is the one that has, a bunch of things. He's very popular or whatever. tonight we have family movie night, so I've got to go here in about 20 minutes, but we'll power through. Cool. So her question is, essentially, in 2020, we were all kind of preparing for all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And there were the standards, the food, the water, toilet paper, all that sort of stuff. And what she realized during that period of time was there are a lot of other things that you use during the day as part of normal life that you just don't think about. You might need to restock because you don't restock them all the time. She was thinking they're like air fresheners and deodorant and some of that sort of stuff. The things that you maybe don't get every time you go to the grocery store, you don't use hopefully you're using deodorant every day, at least for the people around you, if it's something that's important to them. Yeah. We're not going to judge. We might judge a little bit, but we're not going to judge a lot. So we ended up, so she was thinking about those things and she realized, oh my goodness, if I can't get to the store or if there's shortages, what if I ran out of these things? And so for her, once things kind of opened back up again and everything, she created a tote and she calls it the last one tote. And she has put one of everything that she would want in this tote. Uh-huh. And that for her is kind of her backup. So it's like, okay, if I ever have to, forever in a situation, I at least know I have one of everything. But also if I go into the tote and get this one of everything, then I know I absolutely need to go and replenish it because this is the very end. This is like my emergency stash.
Yeah.
And so her question was,
what kind of stuff was in her tote?
So she said in her tote, she had hair conditioner, deodorant, room spray, dryer sheets, dog treats, the extra things. So if you take kind of food, water, toilet paper, the essential things out, what was left was in this tote was basically all of those things that maybe you would get once a month at the grocery store. They're not maybe the once a year items, but maybe they're infrequent and they're not, you could live without them. Like you could technically live without deodorant. It wouldn't be the most pleasant maybe, but you could do it. You could live without hair conditioner, but like you might not want to. And so I think if we're thinking about kind of the circles of importance and the circle of preps, it's kind of that second or third ring out stuff. And so for her question was, with all of this happening, she kind of changed the way that she thought about prepping and organization of her preps as a result of all of this happening, and then created this tub. And were there things that we did after, all of this that kind of changed up how we think about our preps and how we store them and organize them and things that we maybe didn't think about at the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. I'm still trying to think about what I would have in that kind of tote, because I have my stuff organized a little bit differently. And there was definitely, you find like if we're talking 2020, like what vulnerabilities that you have. Like I think a lot of people had, like for hand sanitizer, that was one. But I don't know if I would just include those, like the last hurrah prep in all encompassing, like because I like the modules and stuff. So I have I have a hygiene module. And the hygiene module I have the deodorant and toothpaste and shampoo and soap and those kind of things. And those are put away in that module. I don't know. Maybe it's the OCD in me, but I don't know if I would have like a all-in-one that would have everything. Like that would have like a filter and deodorant and whatever, like things that don't relate.
I feel like that would just be like a room in your house.
Yeah, that's like my office.
Put one of exactly. It's your office. It's whatever happens to be on the floor in your office with your missing gold coin.
Yeah, I know some of the stuff that I saw as gaps were like, it's like the stuff that you don't expect to go wrong, or like we have in our refrigerator, we have like the little water dispenser thing. There's a filter that filters that, and I'm like, oh, I don't have, like, these are set for like a subscribe and save thing, I think now, but previously I don't think I had like a backup filter for that. Or if you're talking like your HEPA filters for your air filters and things like that, those were things that or even like we had an O-ring on one of the toilets and it started to fail, and I was like, oh, I don't have a backup O-ring for my toilet seal. So there was stuff like that, and okay, look, not time to get two. I'll get one to fix it and one for the backup. And I think there's little things like that, little plumbing things, electrical things that, and not that those are grocery store type items, but those are some of the items that, like for your home, that if you couldn't go to the store, you still kind of want. You could live without it, uh, but it's definitely nice to have those kind of things. So I found like those kind of repair items was the things that I probably had. There's some vulnerabilities with.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have a last one tote. I love the idea. What I love the idea of that is that she recognized, and I think a lot of us, when we were going through this, we think that we've prepared for whatever we've prepared for. Yeah. And then we got an actual thing and it was like, oh my goodness. And I think it put a lot of our mental state to the test, and our organization and all that sort of stuff. It was really for me, it was a dress rehearsal for the earthquake or whatever it is that you're prepping for. You could still, things were still around. You could still get them. Life was okay, but it wasn't okay. For me, I didn't make the tote thing. There were things that I thought about more along the lines of really honing in on my preps. Some I'd had it as a little more abstract. So I was like, oh yeah, we have tons of food, in our pantry. We have extras. We have all of that. But when it became, okay, you might not be able to leave your house for 2 weeks or 4 weeks if you're quarantining with family and everything else. What are we really going to eat over that 4 weeks? And it actually got me to sit down and be like, okay, we need meal plans, and we need all of the things for those meal plans, because it may not be that it happens right now. It may be in 6 months that this happens, but nobody knew at that point. I think there were blind spot things like hair clippers, when we couldn't go to get our hair cut, and you realize, okay, well, we don't have anything to cut our hair. We got to go get clippers, and where do you find that sort of thing? So I tried to do that. I tend to keep a back stock of shampoo, conditioner, all of that sort of stuff. I like to try to think of 6 months to a year's worth of the things that we use. Maybe not everything. So the O-ring on the toilet, great example of something that would fail. I'm curious though, for okay, the O-ring of the toilet, but then would you want all of the repair things? So do you want an extra flushing column thing? Do you want washers for the water lines?
Yeah.
So I feel like you could kind of almost go down a rabbit hole of those sorts of repair items. And I don't know how to prioritize those.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I had a runny toilet that was running and that was because of the plunger or whatever, I think I could get by with that. But when the seal goes, that's a problem. If a seal goes in a sink, that's also that could be, that's that's going to leak out water, and you need water, especially let's say if it's if it's a real emergency situation and not just an inconvenience thing. I definitely like what you're saying about the meal plans. I think that I don't know if there's already a video about that, but the prepping meal plan, for grid down, what I think that's really smart, because a lot of people do meal plans for just everything's going well and you're just trying to make your meatloaf this day, but what's the prepping meal plan, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff that maybe isn't refrigerated. I think it's pretty cool, especially if you could come up with hey, for 1 month I'm only going to use my prepping meal plan. That'd be pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah I think there was, and it was, I think one of the things that made this the dress rehearsal was we weren't going without electricity. We weren't worried that utilities would be down, and so it kind of gave us the thing of, okay, you're not gonna be able to go to the store, maybe you're not gonna be able to get certain things, but you can function. And so I feel like that's so our meal plan was okay, let's make sure that we have enough food. And what we ended up doing is I made a week's meal plan, and then we just multiplied it by 4. And so we had And the idea is, okay, you've got a week, and now you can just multiply it by as many weeks as you want. So they were recommending at that time, like, you're going to quarantine for 2 weeks. But we were like, okay, if one of the kids gets it and then we get it, like, do you have to quarantine in succession, like the whole family? So
Yeah.
it could be up to 4 weeks as it cycles through your whole family. It also, I think, makes it a little easier because you don't have to come up with 28 different meals. You have to come up with 7 in a rotation, so you're not like sick of anything, but you kind of plan it out a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I was going to say, I think that the kids actually are probably better at like having those the meal plan things, or I don't know about meal plan, but they can eat the same thing over and over again and be perfectly happy with it. Like my kids could eat cereal every morning. They would be happy eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they'd be happy eating top ramen or mac and cheese. Like, and they could do that for days on end. Like, I think those grown-ups, our palates get too refined after the older we get. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing too is, and to the point about like, okay, kids eat the same thing. So it's another thing if you have people who have, for example, food sensitivities, or if you have something like that, you then also have to make sure, you can't just go to, like, I was thinking about like when the formula shortage was going on. When we had our kids, one of ours was allergic to like every type of formula. Mm-hmm. And so there was only one type of formula that he could eat that wouldn't cause him to throw up or break out in hives or anything like that. And there was a shortage in it when he was little, and we were able to kind of work around it. But in this case, when everything is shortaged, like, it's not even like you could go and get what's available. Like, you have to get something very specific. And I think in those instances, those are the things you really have to make sure you have backups for, that you've got extra of the thing. The limiting factor. I think you probably deal with this in computer things all the time and everything, but there's kind of like this limiting factor in project management or in anything else, where you can have as much food as you want and as much water as you want and everything else. But like, if there's, I'll give you an example. Another example that's better, I think. My daughter really only likes cheese pizza. Likes cheese pizza. Will not eat anything else. So when we have a pizza party with other people and we're at someone else's house and they order pizza, I'm always like, hey, order a whole cheese pizza for us. She'll eat whatever. Everyone else will eat cheese, but she's not going to eat any of the Hawaiian or the pepperoni or anything else. And I want to make sure that she's got enough to eat. But when we go places and they order like a half of a pizza that's cheese, then it limits what her access is to anything else. Everybody else can eat everything, but she's only going to eat the cheese pizza.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a similar thing of, if you've got tons of food, that's great. But if somebody can only eat one thing, you got to make sure you've got extra of that.
Yeah. I was looking at the comments. I know a lot of folks. I think they were talking about the TP. Yeah. Again, during 2020, I think for me or we had a lot of stuff already because this is what we focus on.
It's what we do.
It's what we do. Like for like the toilet paper and stuff like that. So I always kind of felt like I was toilet paper rich. The problem for me was more of like I didn't really account for it. This is before all that stuff went on. It was just like I don't know if to call it survivor's guilt, but like I felt guilty for having certain things when I knew that others didn't. And I know that I think a lot of like the tactical warriors and tactical ninjas and stuff. That's screw the other people type thing. They're on their own. I warned them type thing. I know that that's kind of like the underlying attitude in the preparedness community. For me, it was a big sense of like feeling guilty that I had that I was prepared for that, and I never really. That was something I didn't really account for beforehand. So then it was like, okay, well, how much do you give away? You can't give away everything because then you're in the same position. So for me, that was more of a dilemma at that time. So,
yeah, I feel like I became the monitor for people because like we had. So there's this guy. I don't know if any of you know it. His name's the Urban Prepper, and he made this video about how many things of toilet paper you needed, and he made it. It's so fantastically simple that it was equated to the packages that were at Costco.
Yes.
And so several years ago, I went ahead and I took that video and I ran with it. And so we have had a year's worth of toilet paper in our, house for everybody here. And I have also told everyone that I know you need to do this and have it in your garage.
Yeah.
And so luckily we didn't know people who were totally running out. And if there was someone we're like, hey, we've got, some if you need it or whatever. Same thing with like Clorox wipes. And there were a few of those sorts of things. But what I feel like I became was the Paul Revere type person. So like I would go to stores and find stuff and people would tell me what they were low on. And then I would either text them at the store or call them and be like, hey, they have toilet paper here. I don't need any, but do you need some? I'll grab it for you and I'll, because it's limit 1 or something like that. Or Clorox wipes. Who among us is low on that? Okay, the next person up sort of a thing will take care of that. Do you find that when you are out and about that it may not be that you're going to give what you have to somebody else if they needed it, of course, like emergency and all that sort of stuff. But it was more like you were aware of what was going on. And so you were helping other people.
Yeah, I think that was pretty common. Like, hey, there's they have an extra one. Do you want me to pick it up for you? I think that was pretty common. And we definitely did that. And I was glad that I did that video, a year or two before the toilet paper apocalypse or whatever happened. So I felt like in a really good spot, and we still are in a good. Toilet paper has been the one thing that we could always count that we're going to have a lot of. But I found that we were doing that for a lot of things, for pet food, for going to certain Costco runs. We have our small network of this within the circle of trust, close family and friends, and we would look out for each other. And I think, and then if they were doing the same to you, it kind of helps out a little bit too. So
modern day prepper. You know what? I totally understand.
I was wondering that.
He's an up and comer.
Yeah.
He's got a very small audience. So if you haven't already, go over and subscribe. Really hoping to get him over that 5 million threshold.
Yeah.
One of these days. That would be great.
I gotta change my handle to the workaholic prepper or something else.
Exactly. The artist formerly known as a prepper.
Yes.
So Amy wants to know, have we thought about what percentage of the preps we'd be willing to share?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Great. Amy always is
amazing.
She's awesome.
So for me, I have certain things earmarked as overage that could be shared. And some of it is also just kind of, I think you play it by ear of what the situation is on the ground.
Yeah.
When you couldn't find toilet paper anywhere, or I was less concerned about toilet paper. I was more concerned about things like hand sanitizer and Clorox wipes before we really understood what was going on. And because they were sold out, nobody knew. Children's, medication. There was a
Motrin,
huge run on all that stuff. So some of that I had, and if I knew someone, and again, like I think you go with the circles of trust. Like I have a setup for 9 at our house because my parents and my brother and my niece and sister-in-law, like I'm planning if there is a big emergency, they're coming here, and we have stuff for all of that. But we have extra stuff in the meantime, like if somebody needed toilet paper or flashlights or whatever, like I've got extras of that sort of stuff. But I don't let anything get below that 9-person threshold, because ultimately at the end of the day, like I need to make sure that that's taken care of. And even beyond that, like I know that my parents have certain things. Now my brother has certain things. So okay, if something needs to go a little bit lower, because I know that they have it, like nothing goes below the 4 of our family. And so I feel like that's not necessarily a percentage, because everything is a little bit different as far as what we've got and how much of it. But I kind of try to eyeball it on how easily do I think I can replenish this? Where are the thresholds of the number of people that we're going to need to support with all of this, and go from there.
Yeah, I think that you should, if I had to name a percentage, I think I'd default to say, okay, do 10% like you would tithing at church or something like that. That's your probably what you should probably account for, maybe upwards to 25%. But So I think if I had to name a percentage, I'd say you should probably account for at least 10% is going to be given away, and upwards of 25%. But you probably don't want to go too much more than that because you still want to be a majority shareholder of your your stocks. So and your stocks are your preps. So
yeah.
But I guess it would depend on some things you probably don't. Maybe you don't need something as much as you don't need that. You don't need 100 rolls of duct tape. You can get by with maybe just 10 of them. But
yeah, and I think there's a piece in there too about recognizing like we are very fortunate. Our family is very blessed and all of that. So like when things like this happen, financially wise, we've got rainy day funds and that sort of stuff. So, I'm always looking for coupons. I'm always looking for discounts and all that sort of thing. And I know a lot of people also do the same thing. But we're fortunate enough that like when they said Motrin is running out for kids, like I was on Target and I didn't care what it cost, just ship it to me. And some of that is planning. I think some of that's financial preparedness of like being ready for those moments so you can do that. But also it's just recognizing that, okay, we're going to get this. And then if we don't need it, like there are other people that might, or if it gets close to expiration, like make sure that we hand it off to people who would need it if we didn't end up using it.
We did that with like the isopropyl alcohol, like the 70% versus the 99. We were doing that at that time. But again, it's nice to be in a position where you could help others. It definitely it felt good to be able to help folks. Like we have some elderly neighbors that are our next door neighbors there, and they didn't have masks at the time, and it was nice to be able to provide them with stuff when it was really short at that time. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of in those moments. I think they're the people that are like, nope, you're not getting anything of mine and everything. Like, okay,
that's like kind of like I don't know. I never really understood that. Like, shouldn't we be helping people like when we can and like being good disciples of prepping? Like, like there's.
Well, I think that's also the like prepping versus hoarding argument.
Yeah,
where some people are like, I just want everything. Just give me all the things and I'm going to have it. And it's like, I think as a person who is in a preparedness mindset, like I want to have enough, but I want to have enough. Like I'm not going to get more than a year's worth of something if it's going to expire in a year. That's just wasteful and selfish and all that's like then you really are like keeping it from other people who can use it, and not go out and buy a year's worth at one time in the middle of a shortage. Like you plan it and you build it up over months or however long, so that you have it and you're not necessarily depleting. I'm not a big fan of like emptying shelves and stuff like that. If push came to shove, I'll empty shelves, but like I don't want to do that if we can avoid it, at all costs. And I think that's the like line between self-preservation with your family and like what it is that you would be emptying a shelf for, and like planning and preparing and being part of everything else.
I remember at the time, like there was a couple things like there's I think us preppers, we weren't like starting from scratch. We were topping off our preps was the main. I think that was the general theme. And I think it's good to not like overly get something just because it sends then other people, that guy filled up his cart, I got to fill up my cart, and it sends like a ripple effect. So I would just do a normal one, but maybe I would do a normal one at one store, then I go to the next store and do a normal one, then go to the next store and do a normal one. And it didn't look like I was freaking out about anything.
Except the people who were driving next to you on the freeway were like, oh my goodness, this guy with the trailer, he has 13 Costco carts.
And I do think with like when you give away stuff, you should definitely be careful too. Like again, circle of trust type things. And I was watching we've been rewatching Breaking Bad and learning on how they deal crystal meth. so they have little drop zones and stuff, and they have like the bare minimum that they give. And I'm like, you probably have to do that with prepping. I was just thinking about that last night, and I don't know how I correlated Heisenberg's blue crystal meth to prepping.
I also like that you included drop zones, which we haven't had a poop joke yet, and so I felt like that.
I've been trying to like be a little bit more professional. I've been trying to clean up my act.
All right. Well, I hate to be the one to end it tonight. I mean, normally like Tub tells me there's a time and then I try to end it. And then he's like, oh no, actually, just kidding. We're going to go for 45 more minutes.
Friday night. Yeah.
Sadly, I actually have to go see Black Adam. So I have to sign off.
I heard
if you would like
the last scene of it, I heard is pretty cool.
I've heard, yes, which is very sad. I spoiled it. I was trying not to. It sounds very cool. I'm really annoyed that it got spoiled. But if you want to continue, if you want to go do whatever,
well, I'll probably
keep going.
I mean, I hear rumblings downstairs, so at any moment they're going to storm here and say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's a way that I can leave though.
Yeah, so, I don't even have it paired to my thing, so I think we'll probably wrap this one up. I don't know.
So yeah, so if you want to hop on, but anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. This is super fun. What we'll do is I'm going to go through the chat. I saw a bunch of questions and things that we didn't, because we were talking, we just weren't saying it all. So we will go ahead. We'll look through those next week, Wednesday. Are you already booked for Wednesday, or are we looking good?
Let me see. Let me take a look. I know that we're about to run. Next Wednesday is October 26th. Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
All right.
I'm talking with preppers.
Then we're gonna hope that next Wednesday, regular time, we'll do this. We'll do some more questions and everything else. The countdown to the 1-year anniversary. Nice. December. I found the date. It's December 17th or something like that. So
cool.
We got a month or two to plan that. The contest to name the office, that's going to happen. We got all kinds of stuff. But thanks again for joining us. And we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.